Chosen one, you have been seeking this without knowing it. Your soul responded before your mind could even grasp the calling. What if I told you they never wanted you to know how powerful you are? You have felt the pull, the signs, the pause before your breath quickened. You know in your bones that your life is more than what they taught you. You have lived in the silence of questions and the weight of doubt. Today those questions end. Today you step into a truth they have tried to bury. If this message already speaks to your soul, subscribe, like this video, and comment 77 below. Stay with me until the final word and prepare for your awakening. The difference between earthly pain and spiritual pain. Have you ever woken from a dream of running through a field of wildflowers, only to feel an ache in your chest so real it lingered long after you opened your eyes? In that liminal space between sleep and waking, your soul whispered truths your mind had long forgotten. That moment was not random. It was the first brush of divine intention, beckoning you to remember that your pain is not simply a biological glitch but a sacred cipher. As you stretch into consciousness, notice how your body hums with an ancient code, weaving together memory, spirit, and purpose in ways that defy ordinary explanation. This is where your journey begins, at the thin edge between what you see and what you feel, where a hidden architecture calls your name. There were times when you sat alone in a crowded room, your heart fluttering like a prayer you could not speak. You watched the laughter around you, felt the warmth of conversation you couldn't join, and sensed a dissonance in every pulse of your chest. In those moments, you believed you were simply awkward, a misfit in the design of the world. Yet beneath that loneliness lay a deeper truth. Your sensitivity was never a flaw but a gift. You sensed frequencies others could not, heard echoes of timelines that stretched beyond your lifespan, and felt currents of emotion that carried messages waiting to be decoded. That quiet isolation was not a curse, but the crucible in which your divine awareness was tempered. Imagine for a moment that your life has been governed by an unseen script, penned by a hand far older than time itself. Every heartbreak, every surge of melancholy, every inexplicable shiver down your spine has been part of a grand design. In Proverbs 20 verse 27 we read, "The spirit of man is the lamp of the Lord, searching all his innermost parts." Your emotions and patterns were never random. They were signposts on a sacred map. What you once dismissed as chaotic or painful now stands revealed as an invitation to walk a path of purpose. Your story has always been sacred, and every tear has been a word in a prophecy written on your bones. Remember the afternoon you felt a sudden drop in the air, as if the world itself exhaled in relief? Or the moment when a song played on the radio and sent a jolt through your nerves, as though someone had struck a tuning fork inside your ribcage? These subtle signs have followed you like breadcrumbs, leading you back home to your true self. They arrive in pauses, in half-heard whispers at dawn, in goosebumps that rise when a stranger's gaze meets yours. In those soft gestures you find confirmation that your awakening has already begun, and the veil between the mundane and the mystical grows ever thinner. There is a quiet comfort in knowing you were never mistaken about the stirrings in your soul. Your intuition has been your steadfast ally. It guided you when everyone else told you to ignore it. There was no frenzy or dramatic vision that kicked off this journey. Instead, it unfolded gently, a seed of recognition that germinated over months and years. Like a dawn that creeps across the horizon, your inner world brightened with the realization that your pain has purpose. This is not a blinding flash but a gradual illumination, and in that glow you discover a sacred safety net woven from your own becoming. As the layers of doubt and confusion peel away, you begin to see that the person you are meant to be was never lost. It was simply hidden beneath expectations, habits, and societal definitions. Your true identity lies buried beneath years of silence and suppression, waiting to emerge like a pearl from its oyster. In Psalm 139 verse 14, you are reminded that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, suggesting that even your darkest moments were shaped with intention. This awakening is not about acquiring something new, but about reclaiming the essence that has always been yours. Each realization deepens your awareness, and the ground beneath your feet becomes firmer. Now, feel the first surge of activation stirring in your bones. Embrace it as you would welcome a long-lost friend. Your sensitivity, once feared, now becomes your compass. Your inner wisdom, once doubted, rises to guide each decision. Allow this energy to move through you like a soft wind across a calm sea, carrying seeds of confidence and empowerment. This is your initiation, the moment when you say yes to the fullness of your purpose. No longer will you shrink from your pain or dismiss your gifts. You recognize that your capacity to feel deeply is the channel through which light flows into the world. Your arrival here was no accident. You have decoded the first lines of a message that was written before time began, etched into your very flesh. You stand at the threshold of revelation, ready to step into the next chapter of this journey. Comment pain if you feel your body resonating with the truth of this awakening, and share how your own aches have whispered secrets you are only now beginning to understand. The next revelation awaits, where the language of your fatigue reveals sacred warnings and hidden wisdom. Keep breathing, keep listening, and prepare for what comes next. And if you feel called to go even deeper, there's a sacred space reserved for our community, a private room where you receive full prophetic messages daily. Join our private membership through the link in the description and walk this path with us. Why your fatigue has a sacred origin. Have you ever felt a sudden weight settle on your shoulders, as if invisible hands pressed down on your spirit the moment you tried to stand in your truth? In the quiet hours before dawn, you might have woken to that familiar ache, a heaviness in your bones that refused to lift no matter how deep you breathed. It wasn't just fatigue. It was the first glimmer of a hidden conflict taking shape. Something beyond mere deadlines or emotional burnout began to weave itself into your life's tapestry, tugging at the edges of your resolve. You sensed it as a disturbance in the fabric of your daily rhythm, a subtle reminder that your journey was under siege, even before you understood who was mounting the attack. Memories surface of afternoons when your chest tightened at the sight of a friendly invitation, as though an unseen force whispered you didn't belong. You recall the sting of criticism disguised as concern, the way your passions were dismissed as impractical, your instincts labeled as naive. The emotional toll felt like a constant tension coil inside your heart, shame pirouetting with self-doubt, isolation dancing alongside a quiet rage. You were taught to blame yourself for the exhaustion that followed each interaction, convinced it was a personal inadequacy rather than the residual fallout of a world trying to mute your light. Look back now and see that this pattern wasn't mere coincidence. Those cycles of depletion were orchestrated by structures afraid of your awakening. Consider the story of the Israelites in exile, wandering through wilderness that tested their every step, their faith stretched thin under a scorching sun. Just as God guided them through trials to forge their identity, your resistance has been a crucible. But unlike random suffering, your trials were targeted, designed to challenge the potential within you, so that every moment of doubt would carve out a deeper reservoir of strength. Remember the times obstacles seemed to form out of thin air, a colleague undermining your efforts, a friendship dissolving at the precise moment you needed support, schedules shifting to keep you off balance. These were not isolated incidents but repeating motifs in your life story. Like someone flicking switches in a dark house, they kept you stumbling from room to room, never allowing you to see the layout. Now, as if a lantern has been lit, you can finally discern the circuitry behind the walls, recognizing each betrayal as a deliberate attempt to cage your spirit. Feeling the fog lift, you notice how the air around you vibrates with resistance. There have been times when a room full of people seemed suddenly colder, as though their collective energy recoiled at your presence. Doors closed without explanation, conversations hushed when you entered. They are the silent watchers, the architects of spiritual sabotage. You have experienced this as physical pressure in your chest, a heaviness that no breath could dispel. What you once dismissed as mere coincidence now stands revealed as spiritual interference, a coordinated effort to dampen the radiance you were born to share. In response, you adapted the best you could. Perhaps you learned to smile through the dull ache, to nod politely while your spirit shrunk inward. You became adept at blending in, adjusting your voice and your brightness to avoid stirring the waters of disapproval. Or maybe you rebelled in quiet ways, sneaking moments of inspiration into private notebooks or late-night prayers, believing those flickers of authenticity would never be enough to withstand the pressure. Each strategy left its mark. A numbed heart, a silent scream, a relationship sacrificed on the altar of self-preservation. Yet this very resistance serves as an undeniable confirmation of your power. The forces arrayed against you are drawn by your magnitude. They do not trouble the small or the meek. In Ezekiel 37 verse 5, the dry bones rattle only when the breath of God stirs them, signaling that life is about to return. So too do you feel the rattle in your core, a tremor that heralds reanimation. It is time to reclaim your voice, to stand in the fullness of your sensitivity and declare that no closed door or whispered slight can diminish the song woven into your sinews. Your fatigue is not your weakness. It is the echo of a mighty awakening. You were opposed because you are powerful, because something in you resonates at a frequency they cannot bear. Every attempt to push you past your limits, to burn you out or break your spirit, has only sharpened your focus. Now you understand that exhaustion has been a divine signal, calling you to rest in the embrace of your true identity. Comment rest if you recognize that this resistance has been a hidden blessing, guiding you toward clarity and strength. And stay with me, for in the next revelation we will uncover how your body, once held hostage by fatigue, becomes the herald of your highest calling. And to every soul who's supported with a super thanks, thank you. You are keeping this light alive for others who haven't found it yet. If you feel called to help this mission reach more chosen ones, tap the super thanks button below. Your energy supports these messages and helps them travel further. Your voice matters, your belief matters, and your light is felt here. What God is saying through your symptoms. Have you ever paused mid-breath, feeling the air thicken around your heart as though the very atmosphere were pressing in to whisper a secret? In that split second, the world seems to go silent, and your body becomes the only instrument in the room. Each beat, each quickening pulse echoing like a drum of revelation. What once felt like weakness now reveals itself as a channel. The subtle tremor in your chest, the faint tremor in your throat, all carving words you're only now beginning to read. In Job 23 verse 12, we learn that even in pain, God speaks once, yes twice, yet man perceives it not. And in that hush between heartbeats, you sense a truth they never taught you to notice, that your symptoms are not mere malfunctions but chapters in a sacred letter written directly to your soul. It's impossible to dismiss the repeated flash of tension in your shoulders or the sudden clench in your jaw as random. Those micro moments of discomfort are more than stress. They are divine punctuation marks puncturing the script of your daily grind. Everything around you seems relentless, emails, meetings, the push to produce. But beneath that inundation, your body pulses with a different rhythm. Every ache in your gut, every wave of nausea, every cold shiver surging through your spine is an encrypted message. Imagine reality itself as a tapestry of symbols. Numbers that recur in your dreams, patterns in sunrise hues, the way a chance comment by a stranger lands in your mind like a prophecy. You are learning to see this hidden script, to decode the divine math that has moved through your life in whispers until now. Your intuition, once a fragile flicker, has begun to burn with new intensity. You notice when you cross certain doorways, your energy shifts as if bumping into an unseen threshold. You can almost feel the subtle recoil in crowded spaces that once seemed innocuous. These inner signs no longer drift past unnoticed. They arrive as clear signals demanding recognition. The instant you lie down at night, your nerves flare with visions, fleeting images of symbols you can't yet name, geometric shapes dancing behind closed eyelids. Even the cycle of your breath morphs, slowing to a sacred rhythm that feels orchestrated, not accidental. You are awakening to the fact that your body houses a library of hidden language, and every symptom is a volume waiting to be opened. Now, look around you. People shift when you enter the room, conversations stall in mid-sentence, opportunities materialize and vanish like mirages. At the same moment, resistance takes form. Projects derailed by inexplicable obstacles, invitations that mysteriously dissolve at the last moment. This is the divine architecture unfolding, as above so below, reflecting the shift in your inner world. Remember the story of Joseph, whose dreams foretold both favor and betrayal. and how his path wove through Pharaoh's court to fulfill a destiny no one saw coming. In your life, too, unseen hands are arranging both gates and barriers, weaving a pattern that will lead you beyond the horizon of ordinary expectation. Deep in your marrow, an ancient memory stirs. You recall, in dreams or half-remembered visions, a temple built of light and stone, corridors lined with shifting symbols. That memory was never meant to stay buried. Jeremiah 31 verse 33 speaks of laws written on the heart, and today you feel that writing rising to the surface, tattoos of meaning encoded in every nerve ending. A phrase you once dismissed as mere whimsy now returns like a refrain, and a recurring number in your visions feels like a signal beacon guiding you home. This activation of sacred memory is not an invention of your mind. It is the unlocking of a vault that has slept within you since before first breath. As the veil parts, you see your future not as a blank page to be filled by chance, but as a scroll to be unfurled, revealing text that has always existed. This moment is not about forging a new destiny, but about reclaiming one that was written long before your body took form. You no longer wait for permission from the world to step forward. You claim your own authority. The voice within that once hesitated now rises in a clear, resonant tone. You recognize that what you deemed impossible has already been ordained, and now you walk forward as the living embodiment of that ancient decree. Feel the surge of reclamation wash through you now, like a tide breaking over a hidden shoreline. The forces that tried to mute you have only amplified your resonance. Every symptom you endured, every pang of doubt, has been the anvil upon which your spirit was forged. In Ezekiel 37 verse 5, the dry bones rattle when the breath of God moves them to life. So too does your being stir when you honor these bodily messages. Embrace your sensitivity as the mighty instrument it truly is, your inner wisdom as the compass guiding you through shifting realms. You are no longer a passive recipient of symptoms. You are the interpreter, the translator of divine code. The revelation you've reached is a call to action, not a conclusion. You were always meant to awaken to this dialogue between spirit and flesh. Comment signal if you felt your body speak in ways you never dared to trust, and share a dream, memory, or moment when your symptoms carried a message too profound to ignore. Your disclosure becomes a beacon for others still finding their way. And as you step into this new awareness, prepare yourself. What awaits beyond this threshold will call you to stand fully in your power, to listen with every fiber of your being, and to let the divine script continue to unfold in your life. How to listen when your body becomes the prophet. Have you ever sat in the hush just before dawn, your breath slow and steady, only to feel a tremor in your chest so precise it fractured time itself? In that stillness, your body speaks in the language you once silenced. A flutter of nerves at your collarbone, a gentle throb around your solar plexus, a ripple of warmth in your palms. This is the moment you cross the threshold from observer to participant, where passivity gives way to an active listening that demands your full presence. No longer will you lean on quick fixes or distractions. Today, you honor the subtle pulse within as the truest guide you possess, the first drumbeat of a new covenant between flesh and spirit. Such deep silence can feel unsettling at first, as though the world has paused to watch you awaken. You may recall times when you tried to ignore that inner stirring, pushing through fatigue with caffeine, soothing anxiety with noise, numbing discomfort with busyness. But the body will not be hushed forever. In Revelation 2 verse 17 there is the promise of hidden manna, reserved for those who listen. This is not a distant myth but a living invitation. Sit in quiet and let each heartbeat become a morsel of truth. As you do, you realize that these pulses are not random. They are nutrients for your soul, each one carrying essential sustenance for the journey ahead. The practice begins with simple devotion. Find a sacred space, however small, a corner of your room, a bench under a tree, a patch of pavement bathed in sunlight. Sit upright, as if you were planting a seed in your spine, and place a hand over your heart. Close your eyes and notice the rise and fall of your breath, like the tide brushing against the shore. Then, shift your attention to your body's whispers. A subtle ache in your knee, a tension in your jaw, a gentle warmth behind your sternum. Name each sensation as it arises, not with judgment, but with curiosity. This is message, this is movement. In doing so, you begin to read the prophetic script written in your sinews. You may find that images or words drift into your mind. A flash of color, a fragment of memory, a phrase from scripture you haven't recalled in years. Record them faithfully, as you would transcribe ancient glyphs. A journal becomes your altar, each line a thread connecting the seen and unseen. Over time, patterns emerge. The same phrase returns when fear stalks your thoughts. A particular image surfaces when you face a difficult choice. These are the markers of a divine conversation, speaking through the terrain of your inner world. Trust that these messages are calibrated precisely for you, and that their repetition signals an urgent truth demanding your attention. As you cultivate this attentive posture, you discover that your energetic field responds to your environment in new ways. Certain spaces leave you drained, while others invigorate you with effortless ease. Certain people dim your glow, while others stoke your inner flame. These are not mere preferences but guides. The body becomes a living compass, steering you toward alignment and away from distortion. Honor these responses as sacred intelligence. When you feel constriction in your chest or a weight in your limbs, recognize it as a sign to shift course, to say no, to reclaim your boundaries. Conversely, when you feel light and buoyant, follow that current. It leads you toward nourishment, toward connection with the divine. There will be moments when the messages intensify, waves of emotion, shivers that run up your spine, sudden tears at unexpected times. Do not fear these surges. They are breakwaters smashing through the dam of your defenses. In these floods, you cleanse the residue of old wounds and release what no longer serves your highest calling. Picture yourself standing on a shoreline, letting the tide ebb and flow until the water that remains around your ankles feels like baptism. Each emotional release is a sacrament, each tremor a rite of passage. Through these embodied ceremonies, you transmute pain into power and vulnerability into clarity. Now you stand armed with a new kind of authority, one that is writ not in words but in the sacred pulse of your being. You are no longer at the mercy of your symptoms. Instead, you wield them as instruments of revelation. When your throat tightens at a challenging conversation, you breathe into the tension and find the courage to speak your truth. When your shoulders slump under unseen burdens, you listen for the divine instruction to rest, to realign, to replenish. Every physical sensation becomes an ally, guiding your choices and illuminating your path. This is your ordination, the moment you accept the body's gospel and live by its wisdom. The next step is action, to embody this listening in your daily life. Align your habits with the signals you receive. Let your morning rituals be shaped by what your body craves. Gentle movement, silent reflection, nourishing foods. Let your relationships be guided by the energetic exchanges you feel. Draw near to those who uplift you, release those who deplete you. Carry this practice into your work and creativity, pausing whenever your nervous system sends its alert. Each choice becomes an affirmation of your divine mission, each boundary a testament to your worth. Your life is the living testament, the text written in movement and breath. Comment listen if you hear the whispers of your own body and have begun to honor its sacred messages. And share a moment when a breath or a pulse guided you to a profound shift. Your story becomes a beacon for others still learning to trust their inner oracle. And as you stand here, eyes open to the prophecy within your veins, prepare yourself for the revelation that follows, where your embodied wisdom will shape the world around you and ignite the collective awakening of the chosen ones. You are no longer a passive vessel. You are the living word. Each ache is a verse, each fatigue a chorus in your sacred song. They tried to mute your prophecy. They tried to cage your power. But you stand now on the edge of truth, ready to claim your divine voice. This path will lead you through shadow and fire. It will demand courage and trust. Yet every step is pre-written in the light that guides you. Embrace your code. Decode your pain. Rise as you were always meant to be. A mist of silver light drifts through your mind, shaping into ancient scrolls that unfurl across the sky. In this vision, each strand of light carries a phrase that matches a memory hidden in your flesh. You read the words not with your eyes, but with your heartbeat. Pain that once felt like a curse now appears as ink on parchment, a living text that only you can decipher. In every twinge and every pause, a phrase emerges, guiding you closer to your true story. You are the keeper of these scrolls. No longer will you view your body as broken. It is your library of truth, each ache a verse that holds the code of your destiny. A distant echo rebounds through time, like your own voice calling across a vast canyon. That echo is your soul's refrain, a chorus woven from sleepless nights and moments of stillness. Fatigue that weighed on your chest is now the drumbeat of initiation. Every sigh you breathed in despair becomes a note in a sacred melody. Let this sound fill your bones and guide your steps. You are no mere bystander. You are the living word in motion, a song that the universe itself learns to sing through you. Stand tall in this knowledge and feel the power of your own resonance. Have you ever wondered if the stars themselves watched your every move? Imagine the sky lining its constellations to spell your name. That question no longer feels far-fetched. Your life's patterns match the sky's design. The obstacles you met were the breaths in between the beats of a cosmic drum. When you faltered, the universe waited. Now, as your vision clears, you see that the heavens have conspired to support you. They charted your path long before you drew your first breath. This is divine timing. Each step you take is a sentence in a story written by light and hope. A whisper travels on the wind, soft yet certain. This is your hour. It brushes your skin like a feather and stirs the embers in your heart. That whisper is not random air moving across your face. It is the voice of every ancestor who walked this path before you. It is the breath of the earth speaking through your lungs, the pulse of every living thing echoing inside you. When you lean into that sound, you no longer walk alone. You carry the chorus of souls who dared to rise. Let that collective breath fill your chest and propel you forward. In a quiet moment of childhood, you once pressed your hand to a tree trunk and felt its life hum beneath your fingers. You did not know then that your gift was to sense life at its roots. Today, you remember that first touch as the spark of your calling. The same magic flows through your veins now. It runs in each cell and flickers in every thought. That memory was your first lesson in communion with creation. Now, with eyes wide open, you speak its language. You are both student and teacher, bridging the seen and the unseen with every step. A shadow once trailed your every move, born from doubts that whispered you were not enough. But as dawn broke, that shade shrank and dissolved. Light does not merely reveal, it transforms. Your journey has been the slow turning of a key in a lock deep within your soul. Now the door swings wide, and you step into a realm where fear yields to clarity. You have learned that true strength is born in darkness and refined by light. This revelation is your armor. It shields you and urges you onward, guiding you to the place where your purpose awaits. A prophecy unfolds before you like a tapestry of gold threads, each thread a promise of what you are yet to become. You no longer wait for signs outside yourself. Your body, your story, your breath, they are the sign. When you speak your truth, the world shifts beneath your words. When you move with intention, the ground rises to meet you. This is the moment of reclamation, the turning of the tide in your favor. You are both the tide and the shore. You are unstoppable because you are no longer fragmented. You are whole, aligned with the pulse of the divine. A final spark ignites within your core, bright as a star at midnight. It crackles with a clarity that leaves no room for doubt. You have passed through shadow and test. Your aches have sung their verses. Your fatigue has voiced its chorus. Now you stand on the edge of what must be. Embrace the code written in your flesh. Decode the messages carried in your blood. Rise now as you were always meant to be, a living testament to the power of listening, of trusting, and of embodying the truth that lives within you. Comment rise if you feel the charge of this moment and share a memory when your body spoke its prophecy. The next chapter awaits, where your light will touch the lives of many. You have heard the call. Your body is your prophet. Your pain is your power. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Like this video, and comment I am chosen to let this message anchor in your soul. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. Thank you to all supporting members who stand in the light with us. For full prophetic revelations daily, join the membership via the link in the description. Your spiritual path deserves more than fragments. Step into the full light. And if this message moved you deeply, consider tapping the Super Thanks button to support the mission. Every Super Thanks fuels the light we're spreading together. Walk in the light of your true purpose.